Oh, hi everybody. It's MJ from Art to Love. How are you? So today I wanted to talk about shape-shifting in the vibrational reality, which is sacred law. It's beyond human law for sure, like for sure. It has more to do with energy, what people would probably define as God or source or hey Olivia, infinite intelligence, and just the pure boundlessness of energy as the backbone of creative expression in form. The physicality of creation ultimately. Hola, hola, Jamie Ray. Um, and thank you, because your medicine cards and the book are providing a lot of inspiration right now, certainly for the content of the share, because I didn't bring the actual cards down, but I did bring the book. And so instead of pulling the cards, I like, like flicked through the book and heard stop. And then the reason this topic is called shape-shifting is because the animal spirit that was stopped on, it was crow medicine. Hi Jessica, how are you? Hey, and is that E? What up? What up, E? So crow medicine is like a shapeshifter, and our crows are very much connected to Great Spirit and the divine mysteries of life and good medicine for sure. And crow medicine is sort of like the messenger of sacred law and the reminder that we are shapeshifters, that we have the ability, you could say, to like bend reality. Although I wouldn't want to coin other people's terms for, the authenticity of our creativity ultimately, because I do know another public figure who uses, I think their book is actually something like that anyway. But it's true. It's our, like, we, all of this outworking of distortion, as I do use that word in the Fearless Life Guide. Yeah, distortion is ultimately the projection via fear and the perspective of separation. That to me is distorting the purity and the divinity of our reality, versus our ability to like outpour from the heart, which is connected to the divinity source point, that benevolence of light-filled creation ultimately. And so it's almost like the reminder or biofeedback. Hey Jazz, how are you, my friend? It's like the biofeedback of like the purity of that source, and the crow is really wanting to remind us that we are the creators. And I think with the recent shapeshift and up level, certainly for me, with being in a city and now engaging with more human beings again, I'm still holding space for like a large spectrum of vibrations. So like there's like sort of like a deeper goo and kind of like but then fortunately I do feel more expanded and more able to hold space for that. I'm more clear in my like discerning capabilities. So it's like the crow just wanted to remind me like that I'm the creator and I'm shapeshifting this reality, and so it's important to focus on peace. That's my desired creative outpouring. Obviously, my projected reality is like new paradigm. Good night. Love to you, Jazz. Your new paradigm and paradigm shift to me really came again from the heart of compassion and love and unity, and like can we just all get along, and like not to be cheeseballs about it, like not like I want it to be fun and cool and like radical, but like not so much darkness and like like as I feel like again with this up level, it's like my ability to like it's like ground in and like digging out the dirt of density, like the lowest of the low, which I've not properly, I guess, had the space to address, which is, I guess, maybe part of this month with the Virgo season. And just this month, some astrologers have called it like this sort of standing your truth, and then also like a transitional month, like moving from the one reality to the next reality. And so like tying up loose ends in our commitment, because Divine Sight shared that on her Facebook page. It was the Power Path. Is that right? Power Path. It's like a monthly astro report as far as like what are the collective energies, and there was a lot to do about like our commitment to moving forward. But you guys all are aware of this, like to truly move forward with the commitment. I've always known this, which is part of me being like the radical that I am. But you can't have nets, if you know what I'm saying. You can't have well, if this doesn't work out for me, then I'll just have to, because like, can you feel the fear? Like, it's like the fear that's sort of masked in practicality. Well, you're going to have savings, or you're going to have, which is all a disempowered outpour. So it's like, this month, as we really commit to our movement forward, it's like all of the loose ends from our past creative bubble are being tied up. And so for me personally, tying up some of those loose ends is then churning up like the deepest, darkest shit from that past cycle. So like lots of gooey shame. And then the polarity for me is like the like the injustice of it, and the like, yeah, like so much of the rage at just the nonsensical injustice of the world, the system, people's superiority, and like the way that people can lie to themselves and justify their shameful, shitty behavior and get away with it, because we don't live in a just economy. We live in this weird veiled system that sort of, protects and that, and yet here I am aware that is changing, that we, the New Paradigm Collective, heart-centered leaders and healers and business pioneers, are shape-shifting the reality to be more harmonious, to be more effective, compassionate, abundant, freedom feeling for the masses, right? So that we yoke, we really come into the heart center of that desired creative field, and there's no wobble. That's, I think, really firmly stepping into sacred law and divinity in its expression, is that you can't really, and I feel like the last couple of years have actually been outworking any egoic attachment to this stuff that I'm talking about now. Giving myself a haircut right now, shape-shifting. That's funny, I've been thinking about dyeing my hair back to like dark brown, but I don't think I'm going to. I don't think I can do it. I think I need to keep the blonde. I'm a tab. How are you? Yes, my friends. Shape-shifting the reality. And then like I forget, having been on this journey for so long now, it's like I sort of forget that there's other aspects of self vibrating and projecting their own creative reality, which is where we want to be really detached and fluid around people that come in and out of our lives, to reflect back, to serve, to share in whatever capacity they're designed for in our higher mind, because that's always, in truth, the higher mind, and the subconscious, right? The unconscious is that which we're seeing, and then the higher mind is ultimately interpreting and biofeedbacking off of that, right? So that's the kind of infinity loop of and the breath cycle of creation itself. And not to get too attached, and yet depending on where we're coming from, each outworking or fallout, as it were, has its own, well, to each their own. Every human is ultimately having their own divine experience, but this sacred law, shape-shifting, that's why there can't be any egoic. It's divine right action. You need to be essentially purified That's what I talk about in the book, is like the emotional storming process to me is actually the purification process. It's alchemy, and it's one and the same of like disentangling MJ's like personal, like I'm MJ and I'm important, versus my potential and the potency of my heartfelt, compassionate, and loving creative endeavor to create a harmonious world for as many people as possible who choose to also align themselves with that heartfelt new paradigm creation. And that is like what that's what the crow is ultimately sharing and expressing, and reflecting back to us. Hi Safawi, I miss you guys as well. I'm really looking forward to booking and my ticket and coming to see you guys. I'm here with you. I do hold space for you in the community in Lombok. And appreciate you showing up here, my friend. It's nice to see you here. Say hi to the family. What was who did I miss? I've missed someone, and the beautiful, and your beautiful wife as well. So I literally just looked down at the book and then caught this, like, so in the contrary, so when we're not honoring, and this is so fucking relevant to the book as well, to my book, which I will shamelessly promote to this audience, because you guys want to support me, so buy the book, share the book, get it out there, let it permeate the masses as they begin their spontaneous awakenings. So all to love can continue to shapeshift this reality into one that's more loving. So randomly I'm like, refusing to honor the shifts in your reality can cause emotional pain, and that's so much like been part of my unique perspective moving through this life path, was like being this emotional creature, having this intuitive insight from quite a young age, having always kind of processed, but then realizing that the mainstream culture tries to deny people from processing their emotions, and that is ultimately why there's this prevalence of dis-ease and sickness and disempowered, lack-filled, fearful action, is that people are not able to, they're not properly processing their emotions, and so they're kind of stuck in these webs. Like yesterday was spider, no, yesterday was jaguar, but in the last few days we have spoken of the spider energy of weaving the webs of creation, right? In this sort of evolution of complexity in our humanity, right? And yet like part of the polarity of an increased complexity is our ability to discern in the simplicity of truth. Only when we're really truly anchored in that, and depending on our gifts and point of attraction, we can be asked to speak and to move and to create art and to create technology and to create things that are in harmony with divine right action. And that's obviously in harmony with the bioresonance field of the planet herself. So it's like matching our vibration to the earth's vibration, not using the earth for our own personal gain or our desire to have dominance and dominion over the earth realm. That's the 3D perspective. That's the lower vibrational perspective of fear and separation. Hence, those of us in this community are aware through the emotional gate that we're healing these wounds of separation ultimately, right? And rising ourselves into the heart field, which is our ability to make conscious choices, which is that Christed state. Again, but no ego attachment to it. It has nothing to do with power over. It has nothing to do with control and domination. It has nothing to do with I'm right, you're wrong. I know what's right, you're wrong. It's just an offering. It's just a being in the here now, in our presence. And it's funny, and then I'm reading further about like the contrary crow, which you could say is the polarity reflection of our unconscious still healing. In implosion of energy is apparent when rebellion surfaces. Contrary crow speaks of broken law. The law of expansion is broken by suppression, right? So if we suppress, as our culture has done, we suppress the feminine, we suppress the intuitive, we suppress the darkness, and try to make it just about that externalized creative field. This is then the broken law, which in essence is the human law of separation, the human law of control and domination, boundaries, borders, So this is the broken law. The law of expansion is broken by suppression. So you try to suppress and deny an aspect of self, which is the darkness, the feminine, the intuitive. Then it starts to distort the outpouring of our expression, right? Which is where we've got these cycles and ages of darkness, of suppression, that has created this malevolent, sort of distorted reality of greed and consumption, right? And this is where we are en masse having to reclaim our divinity, reclaim our crow, reclaim our sacred law from within the heart field. Because it's like, this may apply to a situation, a person you've given authority to. So the masses have then given authority to externalized government, externalized power systems, right? Banking systems, the economy. Oh no, how are we gonna sort it out? We fucking created it through our own suppression, through our own denial of the self. And integrating that fullness of self is ultimately what we're endeavoring to do, to then birth and project out into the field this divine one, just more beautiful reality, art, creativity, unity through, higher sort of shape-shifted ritual and ceremony in celebration of our divinity rather than in denial of it. Which is then part of like the 3D reality construct of celebration is a weird constructed escapist route, right? Any far-leaning swing of any pendulum, which is like part of that infinity loop, which again is a part of how we contain the entirety of creation. Is that for me, it's sort of like holding space for the pendulum in our learning. Like the infinity loop, I feel, is the Earth's trajectory in the infinite cosmos, or in this, certainly in this solar system, is that there's this ever. This is why it's a generation station, why it's a place for souls to grow and learn and expand. It's so dynamic in that binary solar system. And so it's always, that's the perpetual infinity loop, infinity, eternity, and like wherever you catch the ride is where, so we might head through in one of the extremities, and then we come back to that center point in that unification of self, which is where the Earth is headed. Right as we head into that binary solar system, we align ourselves with that, the solar gateway, I'm hearing, which is in alignment with all of the sunships, I'm hearing. It's like, that's where Earth is bathed in the divine sacred law of truth, in the light field, in the most potent light field of light, of creation, of divinity. And then Earth then, off it goes back into the darkness, where a lot of us, because of the journeys we've been on, this is why the research of cosmic origin and cosmic awareness is coming back to us, because for many of us, it's time for us to go. For many of us, it's like, we've lived out the incarnation. Now we come into that 0 point creative field. We birth the new paradigm, and then this will be our final incarnation until until we choose to come back again. But the clarity of our projected reality on a soul level, to me, is becoming more and more clear, and the detachment of, which is part of the crow medicine as well, the detachment is more visceral. I recognize it's the majority of it's not my responsibility, and yet absolutely my own creative expression of truth is my responsibility to express and show up in my intuitive guidance. And fortunately now stepping into that reflective, having the support and having the aspects reflecting back to me the truth of what I'm shapeshifting into, and where I've been this month is like the tying up of loose ends of my past abuse cycles and stuff like that. Amen, sister. Sorry guys, I just picked my nose. Yep, not sure what you're talking about, but I need a break from this soul simulation research. Girlfriend, give yourself a break. Totally. I'm often, if not like all the time now, just beingness and on a break, and just it's just pure flow of like my desire. So glad you pulled crow. I've been seeing many lately, just had not looked it up to remember yet. Yeah, the serendipity and synchronicity, isn't it? And the unification of mind in this community. Because we are serving a different function in in sacred law, ultimately. That the reason how one can res here is the kind of resonance of the path you've lived, in the inner nudgings that you've been following all along, and then they're birthing it now in our reflections, and we're all going, holy fucking shit, man, it's all real and true. And like because we swung, we too were the pendulum swinging from, oh no, it's not real, and da da da. Now we're like, oh fuck. Like, whoa, we really are creating. And there is that like, whew, that's detachment in such a way. It's just a slowing down of like only ever being in that bioresonance, you know? And something you said, Sweet CC, it totally, that is a reflection for me of like that past journeying of like, let it go, let it go. No, you don't need to research. You are the container of the full divine self. You're the container of all infinite intelligence. You don't need to research. You don't need to ingest anyone else's truth or information. You only need to be the joyful desired expression that you desire to be. You only need to act in good faith and truth of what your beingness is asking of you in this here now present moment, to bring into unification all past timelines, all future timelines, in that, so that you're the container, you're the shapeshifter in the here now presence of the fullness of that which you are and have always been. That makes sense to me when it comes into the 0 point, the unification, which is also the idea of the event horizon. It's in the ever present here now moment. You cannot. But I'm like a rat trying to. I love you. Yeah, and that's okay. You know, that's it. It is, I guess. It just is. You know, and we're simply all have our own unique. And it's funny that you mentioned rats, because my new roommate, who I'm really thankful that she picked me on spareroom.com, she was talking about rodents yesterday. She moved from London to Bristol, and we were having a whole long-winded conversation about her like not liking rodents, and rats in particular are quite like, you know, I love all creatures, obviously. Like, I think mice are just the cutest little things, and rats, and like, I don't know, like they're just these like, yeah. Anything I sometimes see that we reject in our field, nice divine sight. As in when we have a proper, although she naturally did work it out, she randomly came out with like, I was really anxious at the time. Like, I sort of felt like the rats and the mice were like a kind of representation of my hardcore anxiety. And then somehow we noodled out like, well, all of that uprising of rat or mice infestation or whatever, and all the anxiety was sort of ushering, you know, the next phase of life, the next move. Just like me having a series of like abusive relationships was my ending up here in my shape-shifted reality, like in my brand new reality. Etheric. Oh yeah. Centipedes came back in my too. I think they might have appeared in Portugal, and they came up somewhere else recently as well, though, Sweet CC. It's okay. It's okay to go there, basically. They're not particularly attractive, but like, oftentimes the human law projection of these things is not the divine law of projection of these things. These critters and creatures are like, really, in truth, they're benevolent messengers for us, to attune to a multifaceted aspect of our shapeshifter sacred law, you know, higher, you know, the centipede, the millipede, these the way they move and the way their coordinates and coordination system operates, I would say, is actually quite evolved. And I think about how they can kind of slot in and move into all these different areas, you know? Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well done. Nice one. And it's just there, and there I just had this over myself. Yeah, and I've had that, or something you just said. And that's really good. The kind of the polarity of being able to integrate and transform the fear stuff, the fear programming around it, and then bring out the divine teachings of it. Oh wow, beautiful. Oh wow, funny. See? Oh, see, that's a nice polarity even in reflection here now. It's like, yeah, aware of the fear of spiders, arachnophobia. Like, we're meant to be frightened of all these things, but actually we're aware like it's not. But then you're transforming the fear of it, and you're then showing the beauty of the creature and how we can shine light on these sort of. I always think of insects as like I always think of insects as like aliens. Like, I guess, imagine like blowing them up to like in movies what we think of aliens. I'm like, yeah, like little like of like different spiders and flies having like multiple. If you were to just explode them or you know make them bigger, that would be like an alien. So and then similarly like whales and dolphins, I think of like super duper evolved extraterrestrials basically. It is gorgeous, and I think that's the part of, again, divinity, like divine containers, like holding space for the infinitude of creation across this like infinite cosmos. It's like it all exists, you know. All the creatures are ultimately born of their own dimensional life force and out of the void, and so there is beauty in all of it. It's just the 3D program is so dualistic that it's like, that's disgusting and scary, and this is gorgeous, and we should try to attain to this. It's like our sterile environments, our kind of cookie cutter sterile environments, which again people think is like the right way to live, but is that right? It's like, what life are we denying when we're constantly having to clean or constantly having to detox or you know, rather than the kind of symbiosis and the kind of effortlessness and the synergy of really co-creation and flow, like the Tao, living out flow, living in your that thing, like, and that's just the presence. And like when I'm off here, I might be having a snooze fest. I might like be reading some books. I might be eating some food. There's no rigidity whatsoever, in fact, at all. And even with increasingly with the finances, it's like ebbs and flows. Like a rush of bookings comes in, a rush of sales comes in, and then out it goes. But then when we're shape shifting into sort of amplified, more clear intentions, I suppose there's surges of power that comes in because there's like a deeper, more tangible, more visceral knowing about how it's working from within the self, which is just mind-blowing and quite exhilarating, hence the bliss piece, right? Like having that blissfulness. I feel like there's a symbol in this, but hey, my subconscious is picking it up. Yeah, the crow. That's what we're do you agree with social media? In what regard, Matab? Hey, Studio B, good morning. It's morning for me. It's evening for lots of all y'all in here. No, and that has to do with just being the silent witness and observer, hence holding space for contrast versus becoming attached to the illusion of life, which is contrasting, which is polarized, light and dark. But you're not that light and dark. You're the container and observer of the totality. Hence, how you rise the ability to project into the field is that you embody the fullness of your container, of the polarity of the light and dark, and then you kind of shape shift and like, you know, project the desire rather than getting attached to either end of the spectrum. Hence our ability of kind of integrating and understanding that authenticity is a new spirituality, or like integrity and authenticity, because we're not veiled anymore. We're not trying to be a good person, or trying, or like swinging the other way and being a horrible person. We're just living our truth. And then in that regard, we don't attract in those codependent, abusive relationships anymore, because there's no space for it in the truth of your beingness. There's just space for other authentic creators. It's just such a relief. Yeah, because once it's showing up in your reality, you're like, yes, yes, yes. It's on, it's happening, but it's really grounded. It's not weird. It's not like excited, because I'm actually, it's only coming through now, but I'm aware of that. Like in a weird way, some excitement vibe-ish is a little bit, I think ego is attached to that. Because it's not even like I'm excited about this new beginning and stuff. It's just tangibly more integrated and like real, like grounded, center point, 0 point. And then every encounter, like just that. Every encounter, every person coming in is like a more desired reflection of my intention, and my intention for years now. And then intuition is just cutting stuff out, essentially. Like, not that anymore, not this anymore. And it's vibrational. There's no, it's not like blame and attack. It's just shift and vibration going, we don't gel. There's no vibrational alignment anymore. Oh no, we don't gel. There's no vibrational alignment. And like there's no, also like no, like also the detachment piece is like there's really, really no shame in speaking the truth. It's like, because it's just so real and visceral, of like I just have no giving of shits around people's perspective of me, and I can feel it. I can still attune from time to time, as and when it's relevant, which is very rare, but like I can feel people's judgment on me. I can feel, and then I can usually intuitively like work out like the layers of where that's coming from, and like the resentment under the judgment, or vice versa would be resentment, and then the judgment is what's being kind of laced or covered up. And it's unfortunate, you know, but like that's there. And for me, at least, I can hold space for that rather than embodying it, which would have been my past patterning, and thinking that was true or real. And then knowing, yeah, I just don't need that. And that is really helping me, again, I would say shapeshift more quickly, and thus bend reality and like continue to step in. Hence, so Power Path, that one, that the monthly astro energy update that Divine Sight shared on her Facebook. And this month is like, so there's twofold of commitment, like fully stepping into self and committing to that project, like that desire. And then like I said about transition. And isn't it interesting, like the crow medicine, it's like we are crows, like we're messengers, and then from the divine mystery, really bringing forth a world of higher vibration and peace and love and integrity and divinity, attuning to sacred law to make it manifest, that's the commitment for the soul and the heart. And then we're just in a month of like cutting, and through that commitment to that creation, it's, for me, there's a great sense of empowerment around detaching and shedding and not, you know, not feeding certain things anymore, and just allowing. It's quite beautiful, but I'm also like sort of aware of how radical it is still, but that doesn't bother me. It doesn't make me frightened or anything, because for me it's more important to be transforming the fear from within the self, continuous, rather than put any of it outside of self. So like, yeah, it just have to bring people along with us, I suppose, and allow people to create their own process around how to heal the self. But the more people doing it, the easier it'll be for more people. That's how I feel into it as well. Oh, look, it's getting light out there. It's getting light out there, guys. The sun's coming out. I went out, just side note. Okay, oof, that was a huge download. I feel like I'm gonna have a snooze soon. Actually, I have some readings. I have a couple of readings to do as well. I went out yesterday. I'm like coming out of reclusivity, which is pretty cool. It was so lovely. So like I live in the river, and we walked along the river, and this was like from a serendipitous meeting that I had at a place I was guided to after applying to volunteer at the new charity shop, Street Folk. So it's a charity shop for the homeless in Bristol. Pardon me. And then I got guided into this place, this little cafe, which has amazing vegan chocolate chip cookies and chai latte. So I go in there, and I could feel a resonance with somebody, and I ended up talking to him. And then he recommended Beezy's, this place on the river, which is only open. Next weekend is the last weekend it's open, because it's only open at the weekends, I think, I'm sure. And it's only open during the summer months, maybe spring as well. But from what I could gather, it's literally only open for the summer. But we walked down the river. It's probably like a 15-20 minute at the very, very most, but I don't even think it was that long. So yeah, a beautiful walk along the river. And then they have a little boat service, like just this tiny little like motorboat that picks you up, and then you take the little boat across. And it's quite a large venue. And the food was delish. I actually still have one brownie, although I did technically buy it for my roommate, but I might end up eating it. The food was glorious. So they had this like vegan phyllo pastry roll, salad and couscous and hummus and falafel. So like loads of delicious, and it's all like cooked on site. And like the chefs were all back there, and so every time I asked whether something was vegan, they were all there, like hands on deck to like bring me clarity, and really forthcoming. And you could just tell it was like lovingly made soul food and like home cooked food, and delish. So yeah, so we went to this place, and like after we no tahini, but I gotta say the hummus was a little bit tahini like. So you know how some hummuses don't have tahini in it and some do, and I find that the hummuses that are a little bit more pasty versus grainy, so the grainier ones with just garlic, olive oil, and maybe a splash of lemon, that's hummus that tends to be grainier, where some recipes put tahini in the chickpea garlic olive oil blend, and then that makes the hummus like pastier. So it was more of like a pasty hummus. So I feel like there might have been tahini in it, and it did have a kind of bit of that flavor, but who knows, like I have no idea. Plus my taste buds are not that switched on, like to I'm not like a foodie particularly. I just when I have hunger, I enjoy food, like most privileged lucky humans who get to eat when they're hungry. I'm like, bah, 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 bah. No hot peppers. I'm quite a powerful pitta. Like pitta, 60% pitta, 40% vata or something. So my pitta constitution means that like too much spice is not in my favor. Too much spice literally just makes me burn up. I'm already quite fiery. Let's be honest, you guys. And for any of the humans in this life who have seen my temper, they would know. It's not like you don't want to cross me, eh? And in fairness, like I do feel like it comes from the sword of truth and like the sword of fairness. And I'm super generous, and I'm vulnerable, and I'm open, and I'm like mega giving. But if I sniff out some like either lying or like some snooping or some like lack of generosity, then either I just walk away or I will express what I feel. And that is when the dragon energy will come out, and people are like, you're so nice and shiny 2 days ago. I'm like, yeah. And then I caught some behavior that I feel is not in accordance with divine law, and you're lying and pretending, and so you shall feel the wrath of the dragon. What is my Chinese? I'm born in 1982. Would that help you work it out? I think I'm a dog, to be honest. So I have an Aries sun as my like rising, no, sun. So Aries sun, Capricorn ascendant, Virgo moon, which I swear to God, my Capricorn ascendant and Virgo moon is now my main vibrashe. And like, maybe it's just because it's Virgo season, but I'm so seeing reflected back and feeling the embodiment of the Virgo, so many of the Virgo traits. It's kind of like wild to me. And it's weird because I embodied a lot of that when I was a little kid. And all of those memories are kind of coming back about like just like most, like I'm so organized, it's insane. And like I'm somebody who doesn't even have like a disorganized cupboard. Like all of my cupboards have like things are in certain places, and I can't accumulate a lot of clutter because it like it biofeeds back. I'm like stuff, clutter, can't think straight, can't relax. Rising in my Pisces sun now. See, isn't that fascinating? And that's the power of the Aries as well, starting to burn and take you into action and come out of that dream spell, right? That kind of, which is the Piscean, which is part of the beauty of that Piscean aspect. And yet here now that empowering that masculine aspect and moving forward, that was also in that power path reading, wasn't it, around like our ability to balance the feminine and masculine aspects of self. You know, taking action from that divine feminine, but indeed having the action. And they use the word aggression a lot, which I thought was quite interesting. And I appreciated it as well because I think certainly in Britain as well, and like, oh, don't be aggressive. Oh, you're being blah, blah, blah. And you're like, no. We're living in times where people need to take action. They need to move forward and have fire to express themselves, to be the truth of their beingness. You know, why we feel that is not acceptable, I'm not sure. You know, when we express it so violently in wars and perpetuate it so arrogantly in different domains, and yet in our day-to-day life somehow that's, you know, it needs to be suppressed, right? No. Any level of suppression is just going to distort the healing and distort the projection. So just let her rip, people. Come on. What was I looking at? Oh yeah, I wanted to look at the Chinese. I don't know. This is the last thing I'm going to do, folks, and then I'm going to bow out. I'm going to bow out, and then I'm going to have a nap. Because I've been up since 3 o'clock this morning. What did you ask? Chinese... Is it like star sign, or... Is it zodiac? Chinese zodiac? For 19... Is it? And it's based on the year, right? Chinese zodiac 1982 is my year. Yeah, dog. So I do, obviously I remember, I have looked it up. And I'm pretty sure we're like maybe coming into the year, or last year was the year of the dog. This was the residue, like hardcore. Hence this transition now, the cleaning up of the ending of the residue, which took us into pretty much like March, and then the birthing of the new cycle, which is all these new energies. It's just beautiful up until that, and the Lion's Gate of last month, which is really the energetic, the shape shift, the actual energetic shape shift, right? An element touch based on cycle. And it's a 12-year cycle, which is interesting. I don't, I just don't really know anything about the Chinese zodiac, really. Although, although it's saying fortune for people born in 1982, 1994, and 2006 for 2009. Oh, that's great. Yes, fortune is coming my way. So I can share it with all of my besties on the internet. You guys who show up at this time, you guys are going to reap the sweet rewards. All of my abusers of my past cycles and users who tried to hook in and kind of lie. It's like, I love you guys, but you're on your own here. You got a book to read and some inner work to do. But And I remember somehow at some point, like in the last maybe year and a half, I did do research, and clearly it makes sense to me because I guess in 2018, year of the pig is 2019, and 2018 is year of the dog, and like somehow that came to light for me because I wasn't really aware of it, and then but it made sense because I was doing a bit of research around like being in Aries and then being the sign of the dog, and it was like nice, but a bit like also like the sort of, I guess, shadow, but I wouldn't even say shadow. It's just naivety, and like dogs are just like so loyal and like like and they're, it's like typically my nature is to be a dog, to support everybody, and like just love everybody unconditional, and like yeah, be really loyal as long as I think people are above board, but like but then like it's like the intuition part, the higher self part. It's like if I find that people are abusing the dog or like lying to the dog or not, you know, that's when the fucking witchcraft is like boom, thou shalt not pass, you don't treat those innocent creatures like that. And then they're like and they're like, oh, you're not a loyal dog anymore. It's like, hell's no, because I caught you abusing the dog, and that is not cool. Hence new paradigm. Hence all to love. And then people are like, I can't support you. And I'm like, fine, I don't give a ass because it's my life. It's my brand. It's my business. It's my book. And if you don't abide, then hey, yeah, exactly, divine sight for this month, right? I don't know what to say. It's like this little, it's like this little nippy, those little shitty, annoying Chihuahua dogs. That's like, I'm gonna be embodying more of that. I mean, people still love those dogs. I find them annoying, but that's okay. I annoy myself on the regular, so it's totally fine. You guys, this has been a really fun morning with you. I mean, I was having some clear outs this morning because of the stuff that I was some of the cycles that I'm wrapping up. It's churning stuff up, and I was having a chat with my mom, just having a good old cry and rage at the injustice of things, and I can't even listen to my own voice. And I have that, like I'm sure I've expressed it here, just like, like shush, shush, MJ, like shut up. But then I'm like, oh no, but you're not, it's okay, love you. Because like, you know, that's something you guys have helped me with over these last few weeks and months, is just like, it's weird. I didn't even realize there were unconscious denial patterns or like aspects of self that I was taught weren't worthy or valid or annoying or were wrong. And then one of you, I think it was Divine Sight, was like, oh no, I appreciate that of you. I'm like, oh, and I'm pretty sure I probably cried. It was just like, oh man, I didn't even realize that was like part of the wounded child who was told to shut up and be quiet, or you know, too much, like calm down. And then like now the paradigm shift is like people like respect that and desire that for me, and I'm like, oh great, oh I can actually love that part too, how fantastic is that? Like so I can embrace my little, you remember that, it was you, Divine, wasn't it? Like yeah, I can't even remember exactly the context, but I don't know, I apologize for something. I was like, oh no, you like don't, I'm too annoying or blah blah, and you're just like, no, that's like, that's, I like that about you. And I was like, yeah, again, I probably cried anyway. So then I was just thinking about how I can embrace my auras pumping. I'm actually going dancing tonight. 2 nights in a row. 2 nights in a row. I'm actually like going out to socialize and like be a human in the world. Hey, Simple Man's Barbecue from Dallas, Texas. Welcome. 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 We've got some representation from the Dallas, Texas vibrashe. I was basically saying that I can like my little nippy dog that that wants to protect the divine children and the innocent creatures of the planet and the planet herself. And I can embrace the lazy as fuck dog who just lies around all day and does fuck all, because that's also what I do sometimes. I just listen to my body. And I just take shavasana whenever I want and need. Otherwise, I effectively don't buy new things. I do my utmost to not buy food that has packaging. I try to eat whole food to the, whenever, but I also eat some shit sometimes. I'm vegan. Not that I judge people who are not vegan, but I think I love it. So I'm like, guys, be vegan. It's fucking awesome. And you're like, yeah, right, I'll try that. I'll try some vegan food. Yeah, cool. But no judge vibrashe. It makes me very fun. So I'd be like, my dad loves a barbecue. And I'm like, you love the barbecue. I would also just say, hey, why not try some like vegan meat? As in, the vegan version of a hamburger, or the vegan version of a sausage. Switch her up from time to time. See if your barbecue friends will notice. And then if it really doesn't, if it doesn't really fix your fancy, then just, go ahead and have the ribs. It's fine. I will not judge you. This is called Ultra Love TV. Oh, it just basically means like I have to find a way to love everybody and everything. Ugh. But that's fine. You find a way, They got some dope vegan ribs. Oh my God, really? Where are you? Are you in America? And vegan cheese, see, they have everything. I actually made a vegan burger. Boom, bam, 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 bam. See, the vegan movement is really moving. And I mean, it's relevant to all this like rainforest, jungle stuff. Our burning of our ecosystem, it's kind of relevant because apparently a lot of it is linked to like corporation and people selling out to rear and produce more cattle, which I just think, it's such a gick. Like, there it is. I just love it. Guys, could we not rear these innocent creatures en masse to then just slaughter them for our Mackie D's and like our kind of like consumption? You're just like, ooh. The butcher who like, I don't know. I'm not one for cruelty and slaughter as a rule, as a thing. I have an open enough mind and heart that I can accept people who want to eat it. I'm like, okay, like you can kill that duck with your bare hands. I get, and it doesn't hurt your heart, and you don't feel guilty. Fair enough. Maybe eating meat is in alignment with your soul. It never has been for me. Like as soon as I made the connection that the beef or the meatloaf was like a cow, I was like, and I never desired it ever again. And I remember Mom making me some chicken breast. That was the last time I ever ate flesh because I literally like it nauseated me to be gnawing on the flesh. That's my personal story. But again, at this point in my journey, I'm more about non-judgment than like radical extremist pointing fingers at people. I'm like, no, just live your truth. Be a shapeshifter. Be like the crow. Be like the crow and shapeshift your reality by attuning to the divine sacred law. It's like the universal laws, the cosmic laws, versus like the 3D reality. Like, you're a stupid human. You shouldn't do this. You're just greedy mofo lover. It's like, no, we're not. We're like divine, cosmic, amazing beings, you guys. In Dallas. Are you guys having a little chit-chat-a-rooney because you're both in that part of the world, aren't ya? Dear, I know. Aren't they beautiful? They're such beautiful creatures. I'll definitely be visiting you guys at some point. Anywho. Tells us the spirit made flesh. Like, we're spirit, you guys. And, like, we embody... Look, I get goosebumps. It's like, oh, look at the hair. Can you see the hair is standing on its edge right now? Like right when I was like spirit made flesh. Because it's more spirit energy. This will be Gandalf and shapeshift our reality by facing our deepest, darkest demons within ourselves. Hey, so guess what? We just made friends on the internet, friends in real life. Simple Man, let's all have a barbecue at your place sometime. Shazam! That's pshoom! That's actually gonna happen. Gosh. I'm really feeling the coffee. Well, this is like a new, you know how like different coffee, like sometimes, definitely some coffee has more effect than other times. Because but then it's also just the day, the hour, the moment. I'm just feeling the aggression of the September month and the commitment to the self and the reality of the shape shifting and like creating the new and like having had the uplift and just being like, whoa, this is fucking awesome. Yes, I'm so happy. Like I'm so glad it gets like this because there were times over the cycles where I was like, shit, the book is like I need to take the book off the market because it's not people it's just going to be relentless, intense, dirty for people. That's not fair. But now I'm like, no, you do get to the other side and then you anchor a higher vibrational reality and the bass tones drop off. But through karmic backlog, again, there can be quite a few revolutions one must flow through to properly drop off those bass tones and then be in that new projected reality. Because we need to lead by example. You guys know this. You guys know this. We can't be lying at all. It's just leading by example. Thanks, Simple Mans. Appreciation across the nation. I'm in the UK. And well, I should say like across the Atlantic Ocean, but it doesn't rhyme. Salutations, John. Your words are awesome. Thank you. They just flow out of my mouth from my heart. And sometimes I listen to the inner eye as well. Anywho, that's me for today, you guys. Come back again tomorrow for All to Love TV Collective Intuitions, where I just share whatever I feel like. But in essence, I surrendered my whole life to the upliftment of the whole of my brothers and sisters because I didn't know what else to do. Because it was just fucking painful. All the suffering of this planet just hurt my heart, broke my heart over and over again. So I was like, well, just use me for a vessel. The instrument, be an instrument, you know? That's that kind of thing. So there you go, you guys. Have a beautiful day. I'm out. I love you. I'm wishing you major love, heart vibration. And virtual hugs, obviously. Virtual hugs. Virtual hugs. I love you guys. Have gorgeous. Love you, bye.